In our last episode, we found and confronted Dr. Blackburn's associates who were preparing to release FEV using the infrastructure beneath Westtech. There, we put a stop to them. But in so doing, we had to side with either Paladin Rahmani or Knight Shin. This decision was a point of no return for either Shin or Rahmani. No matter what happens, either Shin or Rahmani returns back to Fort Atlas. The other is never seen again. When we arrive back at Fort Atlas, we see one of two scenes. If we sided with Paladin Rahmani, we see her standing in front of the telescope, and the entire Brotherhood is arrayed around her.
Friends, initiates, faces new and old. It's good to see you today. I am proud to announce that the mutant threat has been cornered and removed. But it came with an unfortunate consequence. I'm sure you all know that relations between Shin and I have been strained for some time now. I'm afraid my leaving out his title is no mistake. Shin and his followers have decided to part ways with the Appalachian Brotherhood. I had every wish to work together with Shin on my mission, and still do. But he is no longer open to discussion. His loyalty to the Elders is unshakable. He would rescind his oath before besmirching the Brotherhood's name. Should he ever open his mind, I will be ready to listen. Now I have one more announcement to make. I'd like to recognize a particular initiate's exceptional contributions to our chapter. In most cases, this recognition would take the form of a standard rank increase. However, being a knight is a dedicated responsibility, and it's become quite clear to me that this initiate has obligations beyond just the Brotherhood of Steel. I won't take you away from Appalachia. As such, I'm granting you the unique title of Knight Errant. Why don't you come stand between Scribe Valdez and I, so I may officially confer your title? For exceptional contributions to the Appalachian Brotherhood of Steel, I hereby name you Knight Errant. You may split your time with the Brotherhood as you see fit. We are forever grateful for what you've done for us. Now everyone, feel free to take a short break before your next assignment. You've earned it.
But if we sided with Knight Shin, instead we find Shin standing before the telescope when we arrive.
Initiates and others, I have several announcements to make. First and foremost, the mutant threat has been removed at its source. This could not have been done without the exceptional service of everyone present. You may have noticed that Rahmani is not the one making this announcement. That is because her values and those of the Brotherhood can no longer be reconciled. Rahmani betrayed the Brotherhood code when she cut us off from the Elders. Today, her misconduct took the form of refusing to punish the criminals behind the mutant threat and the countless deaths it caused. She couldn't bear the weight of justice on her shoulders, and thus chose to walk her own path. In exile, Rahmani put her personal morals above the cornerstone of duty, time and time again. Her irresponsibility threatened to shake apart the foundation of order that allows us to be an effective force of action. But however misguided her decisions were, Rahmani always acted with the intent to help humanity. If we are to retain anything from her leadership, let it be that. The Brotherhood of Steel seeks to forge a lasting future. We must be humanity's strength. Strength to eliminate threats, overt and covert. Strength to keep dangerous technologies safe. Strength to make the decisions that no one else wants to make. We are humanity's rock, standing against the harsh enemies of war, disease, and time. We must not falter. Ad Victoriam! There is one more thing to address before we disband. Initiates are the future of the Brotherhood. Induction into our order is an honor that should not be taken lightly. Among an initiate's most important responsibilities is to understand and commit themselves wholly to the principles of the Order. I've come to understand that one initiate will never be able to meet this goal. They have other important responsibilities in Appalachia. I've decided to grant a title that can account for this caveat, while still acknowledging their exceptional contributions to the Brotherhood. Come, stand between Scribe Valdez and I. For outstanding contributions to the Brotherhood mission as an outside party, I hereby confer on you the permanent title of Knight Errant. A unique Brotherhood title with special privileges is an acknowledgement of the highest honor. May it serve as an inspiration for the rest of you. Dismissed.
We can walk around the room and talk with some of the other Brotherhood soldiers assembled here. First, we can talk with Initiate Hewson.
Oh my gosh. What are we gonna do? Who's gonna handle everything? Who's gonna lead the recruits? What am I gonna do? Oh gosh.
Yep, everything's falling apart, baby. It's gonna be great.
Not helping. Definitely not helping. I don't do well with really big changes. I think I need some time to process this. I'm gonna sit down.
If we come back later, we find that Hewson has more to say. We can ask her, how are you doing after everything that's happened?
Better, I think. Thanks for asking. I had no idea it was so bad. Between the Paladin and Knight Shin, I mean. I wish I could have helped, somehow. I don't know how, but somehow. Maybe if all of us had stepped up, so they didn't have so many things to pay attention to. I don't know.
And we see that a few of her other dialogue answers here change depending on the choices that we made. If we ask her if she has any thoughts on Paladin Rahmani, she says what she said previously.
Paladin Rahmani approved my recommendation, so I wouldn't be here without her. She's so confident and determined. I could never be like that, but I'd at least like to try.
And if we sided with Knight Shin,
it feels strange that she's not here anymore.
Then we can ask her what she thinks of Knight Shin.
I really thought that Knight Shin hated me. But I respect him a lot, and I really want to be a soldier he would be proud of.
And if we sided with Paladin Rahmani,
even if he's not here anymore.
We find a few other new dialogue options. Do you like being in the Brotherhood?
What? Of course. I mean, I know I'm not very good at it. In fact, I'm really, really bad at it. But before the Brotherhood, I wasn't anything. And now, I have a home, a mission, a family, kind of. I mean, I know not many people like me, but they give me a reason to be better. To keep trying when everything is scary and bad. And maybe make things just a little less scary and bad for everyone else, too.
You don't believe in yourself very much, do you?
Whatsoever would make you think that?
Listen, Hewson, you're a strong, brave Brotherhood initiate, and you've got this.
Are you making fun of me? No, you're not. I'm sorry. Thanks for the encouragement. I really don't feel strong or brave or like I deserve to be an initiate.
I know it may feel hard to believe, but you're doing just fine, and I'm here if you need anything.
Thanks. I mean, I feel like you're way more capable than me, so it means a lot for you to reach out. I'm going to keep trying to be better so that other people can count on me too.
You should get your act together so other people don't have to babysit you.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Next, we can talk with Initiate Dorsey.
Did that really just happen? I knew things between the higher-ups were shaky, but I didn't think one of them would actually leave.
If we sided with Knight Shin.
Especially not Paladin Rahmani. She was so passionate about our cause.
It's been an honor to...
I really believed in her. It's going to be hard getting used to this.
If we sided with Rahmani.
Especially Knight Shin. I mean, it seemed like the Brotherhood was everything to him.
We owe this victory to you, Knight Errant.
Well, I guess things are going to change a bit around here.
If we sided with Knight Shin, we can say, it's for the better. Knight Shin is gonna pull this Brotherhood back in line.
Yeah, I know he will. And it's only right for a military organization. Following
We owe this
protocol,
victory to
getting
you,
back
Knight
in
Errant.
contact with the Elders. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about losing our spark. You know, Paladin Rahmani's commitment to helping people. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to it. See you around, Knight Errant.
Or if we sided with Rahmani, we can say, it's for the better. Paladin Rahmani has a beautiful vision for the Brotherhood.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. Look forward to it even. Whatever reorganization we need to do, I'm sure it'll shake out into something even better than what we've got right now. Paladin Rahmani is the leader I want to follow. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to it. See you around, Knight Errant.
If we come back to Fort Atlas, he has even more to say. I wanted your take on the rift between Rahmani and Shin. And if we sided with Rahmani,
I'm relieved and worried at the same time. In my heart, I wanted the Paladin to stay. She's the leader we need. With her, we'll keep growing and do good things.
Right?
But I'm afraid what'll happen if the West Coast Brotherhood ever comes calling.
but if we sided with Shin,
Tired, really? And sad. The good news is we're legitimate. We'll contact the Elders eventually, and Knight Shin runs things as tightly as you'd expect. But with the Paladin gone, a lot of new recruits are drifting away. Not everybody signed up for the ideals the Knight holds.
any problems at the fort?
Things are quieting down now. After everything that's happened, we're settling into our new normal. It's kind of nice,
I get a gun
all
and
things
a nice
considered.
power armor.
I gotta go. I'll see you later, Dorsey.
Don't be a stranger.
Then we can talk with either of the Putnam boys. If we chose Marty Putnam and we sided with Shin,
Haha, Knight Errant. That's such a cool title.
everything going all right with training, Marty? Have they made you an initiate yet?
Nope, still training. I figure there's probably other recruits in line ahead of me, but I'm working on it. Oh, with Knight Shin in charge now, I'm gonna be drilling, I'm gonna be training. Training, drilling, maybe, all day long. Very exciting.
What's your take on the Brotherhood now, after everything that's happened?
Oh, I'm as convinced as ever this was the right place for me. It's sad what happened with Paladin Rahmani. You know, I wish she would have come around. But Knight Shin was right. And it's right that he's in charge now. The Brotherhood's gonna be strong under his watch. I know it.
Take care of yourself, Marty. I'll talk to you later.
Ad Victoriam, Knight Errant. Oh, man. You gotta admit, that's a sweet title. But what's an errant?
But if we chose Colin and sided with Paladin Rahmani,
Oh, hello again. Hello, Knight Errant.
how's the training going, Colin? They make you an initiate yet?
No, still in training. With everything that happened, it really put the brakes on the process, you know? Nobody knew who to listen to. Except maybe Scrod Valdez. Now that Knight Shin's gone, I hope things will move forward, for all of us.
How do you feel about the Brotherhood now, with everything that's happened?
This schism hurt. It hurt us personally to conflict with one another, and it hurt the Brotherhood. But we can move forward now. The Paladin's the right leader for us. She can build something for Appalachia that Knight Shin couldn't.
I gotta go. See you around, Colin.
Take care of yourself, Knight Errant. Ad Victoriam.
Then we can talk with Max here. He has much of the same dialogue as before, but a few new things. If we sided with Shin, we can say, do you miss Paladin Rahmani?
Yeah, I wish no one would leave. Paladin Rahmani was always nice to me. Plus, it was her who brought us to Fort Atlas, and I love it here.
But if we sided with Rahmani, we can say, do you miss Knight Shin?
All the time. He was supposed to see me become a knight, just like him. Now we'll never charge into battle together wearing matching power armor. Why didn't they both come back anyway? I thought the Brotherhood chain was unbreakable.
They could never agree, and it became too much.
But it's their duty to work together.
And if we brought Marcia back to Fort Atlas...
Marcia and I don't agree all the time, but we still love each other. I just don't understand.
But if we left her with the Raiders...
Marcia and I didn't agree either. Maybe that's why she left.
Or we could have said, some things you're better off not knowing.
Ugh, I hate it when adults say stuff like that. I can handle it. I know I can.
Then we can talk with Initiate Ramirez.
Did you need something?
And if we sided with Knight Shin, we can say, how do you feel about having Knight Shin in charge?
Knight Shin is a tough man and follows the rules without any leeway. I was raised to respect authority figures, and I will continue to follow orders regardless of who they're from. I just hope that he focuses more on rebuilding society and becomes more approachable. I fear people will become less accepting of the Brotherhood under his command. He's not the easiest person to get used to.
Or if we sided with Rahmani, we can say, are you glad it's still Rahmani in charge?
I've always liked Paladin Rahmani, and she's focused on helping people. Her charismatic and optimistic nature makes it easier for the Brotherhood to continue to exist in Appalachia.
Then, if we kept Marcia here at Fort Atlas, we can get her thoughts too. I could only capture her thoughts about Rahmani staying in charge, because I sent her back to the Raiders in my playthrough when I sided with Shin. So we can ask her, what do you think about Rahmani staying in charge?
Well, I think the best chance the Brotherhood has at reaching some sort of truce with the Raiders is with Rahmani. Then again, she is pretty self-righteous and still needs to learn to live and let live.
And she has no further dialogue on the issue if we go back to the Crater War Room and talk to her there. So next, we can talk with Scribe Valdez. And if we sided with Knight Shin...
So, Paladin Rahmani is gone. I can't believe it.
Or if we sided with Paladin Rahmani...
So, Knight Shin is gone. I can't believe it. I wanted to be optimistic about their conflict, right up until the end. But the more I think about it, the more I feel like maybe this was inevitable. If only there was more I could have done. Well, both of them would die for their beliefs. At least this way they can pursue those beliefs separately, rather than killing each other over them.
We find an option to flirt with her by saying, none of that matters as long as I still have you.
Well, that's going a bit far, isn't it? But it's a very nice thing to say. Thank you.
So, what are you gonna do now?
I'm going to keep doing my job. With one officer down, there's going to be a lot of slack to pick up. There's still a lot more I'd like to see out there, but right now, I need to support the Brotherhood.
How do you think the Brotherhood will fare with its new leader? And if we sided with Shin, she says,
I think it might start feeling a little more like back home, with the Elders. We're going to have a lot of work to do to make things safer in Appalachia. Without Paladin Rahmani to counter his priorities, Knight Shin will have a plan laid out in no time.
But if we sided with Rahmani, she says,
things are gonna get a lot looser around here. Paladin Rahmani never believed in strict regulations. She's going to focus on recruitment and outreach. Well, if you can find the time.
Thanks for everything you've done.
Don't mention it. As the resident scribe, it's my job to keep things functioning around here.
Until next time.
Until next time.
If we come back to the fort later, we find that Valdez has a lot more to say.
Everything is running smoothly, Knight Errant. All things considered, that is.
Let's discuss the current state of the Brotherhood.
Sure. Honestly, I could use someone to talk to about all that's happened.
How do you feel about how things ended?
I'm not even sure where to start. I really believed we could come out of this together.
I hope I'll get to meet them.
I keep wondering where it went wrong. What I could have done differently.
One day,
with all our talk about being a chain that binds, I'm starting to feel like there was more than just one weak link. I think all of us strained that connection. It's going to take time to heal, to learn to live with these choices we've made, and where it's led us.
All the more reason we need to lean on each other for support.
Yes, I think you're right. All we can do is move forward, together.
Or we could have said, we need to move on. There's no time for regrets now.
Even as a scientist, I'm not sure I can see things so objectively. But there's certainly truth in needing to move on.
Or we could say, honestly, I was hoping you could be in charge.
I don't even know what to say to that. Thank you, I guess. I appreciate your vote of confidence, but I don't think that was ever a possibility. A type of responsibility. I can't even fathom it. You know, through all of this, I kept wishing that Knight Connors was still here. Having the right thing to say, the right thing to do. But I think it's time I stopped hoping for an easy solution and started being that person myself. You've been an exceptional friend through this, no matter where we ended up. I'm lucky to have you, Knight Errant.
At this point, we could flirt with her again by saying, "Scribe, I think there's something wrong with my heart. It's beating too fast. Can you repair it for me?" And she responds differently depending on how well we performed with her in the Atlas substructure. If we were really smart and we passed all the tests correctly, she says,
Are you... You must be contagious because now I'm blushing. It may take me a while to figure out how to fix that for you. My specialty is more mechanical. You know, ultrasight batteries and damaged Pip-Boys. The human heart is a whole different beast. But I'm not one to turn down a challenge.
But if we were a bonehead and we failed all of the tests, she says,
Are you... I'm flattered, but I don't think we're a match. Some gears just don't fit together, you know?
We have a unique option here if we chose to save the scientists beneath West Tech. And if we did, we can say, how's the new science team doing?
They are extremely knowledgeable. To a frightening degree sometimes. There's a real chance that we land on something truly groundbreaking. Something that can save lives. The Paladin has assured me that I'll have oversight on their work and their practices. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about them pursuing the more efficient methods they're accustomed to when I'm not looking.
If we sided with Knight Shin, we can ask, how are things with Knight Shin in charge?
Well, I don't want to say draconian, but maybe scrupulous? I'm likely to wear out my thesaurus trying to dance around it. It's pretty damn tough, honestly. It's impressive to see him lay out a plan and stick to it, but he asks a lot of the initiates. I suspect we'll shed a few as the months go on, but there's a good chance we come out stronger for it. As for where he'll lead us in the future, only time will tell.
With everyone talked to, we can at last turn back to the person we left in charge. If we sided with Knight Shin...
I trust the title change didn't come as too much of a surprise. It's unorthodox. But you're an exception I had to acknowledge to prevent confusion among the other initiates.
We can flirt with him and say, so you made a special exception just for me, huh?
It was only the right thing to do. Your service has been... I appreciated having you around during all this tumult. It made a big difference. Don't make me say it again. I'm not very good at sentimentality.
So what's gonna happen to the Brotherhood now?
A lot of reorganization. As much as I'd like to start scouting for another transmitter today, things around here will fall apart if we don't fill the space Rahmani left first.
How are you feeling about everything?
I'm feeling like there's a lot of work to do. Right. You're probably asking about the emotional strain of Rahmani's. I think this is about as good as things could have turned out. It helps that I had someone to back me up, so... thank you.
Well, my business at Fort Atlas is done for now. I'm gonna head out.
Good work out there. The Brotherhood won't forget it. Ad Victoriam!
And if we come back to Fort Atlas, we find that Knight Shin has even more to say.
I see you've returned. No new orders. Don't forget that you still represent us. I don't want to hear any unbecoming rumors from the patrols.
How are you doing, Knight? Off the record.
I suppose I owe you a candid conversation, considering all we've been through. And besides, it does feel nice to have someone to confide in.
We can again flirt with him and say, I'm glad it was you I went through it with.
That comment was unprofessional. Though I think I'll choose not to reprimand you for it just yet. Just don't get too affectionate near the initiates. I can't have them thinking I'm playing favorites.
How are you holding up? Leadership is a lot of responsibility.
I knew it would be, but there's far more to it than I could have predicted. I hear from a lot more initiates than I used to. Some of them seem hesitant. I can only fault myself for that. Consulting with Scribe Valdez has been invaluable. But now, the full weight of any decision I make rests on me. It's difficult, but it keeps things in perspective. I'm going to do right by the Brotherhood mission, for you and everyone else.
Think you'll ever make peace with the past?
I used to think I would only make peace when I reported to the Elders. I still plan to do that, but I've already found my own way to atone. Standing up to Rahmani to uphold the Brotherhood Code was just the beginning. I will no longer make decisions out of fear of failure. I will make them out of conviction to protect, preserve, and honor.
Do you miss Rahmani?
Rahmani was a reckless commander, a stubborn diplomat, and a traitor. She was also my closest ally. For all we disagreed upon, no one else shared my dedication to a brighter future. Not like Rahmani did, though she's not with us now. I will forever carry the valor and determination she impressed upon me.
Can we talk about the current state of this chapter?
There's still a lot of work to do, but things are beginning to even out. We are once again united in our vision and values. The part you played in making that happen cannot be understated. Thank you. Still, it's hard to believe this is how things turned out. Paladin or no, the Brotherhood will keep moving forward.
How are things going without Rahmani here?
They're much more organized, for one thing. I no longer have to spend time recounting supplies or tracking down rogue initiates that Rahmani sent out on a whim. But I will admit that I have some learning to do in terms of community and morale. Rahmani's presence had a vigor that I can't replace. I'd like the initiates to trust me, not just as a commander, but as someone who will lead them to a better future. I owe them that much for the loyalty they've pledged.
So, are you a paladin now?
I don't hold the authority to promote myself. Only a paladin or elder can do that. Regardless, I'm still the highest ranking officer present at Fort Atlas, and will take on all responsibilities necessary to fulfill that role.
But if we sided with Paladin Rahmani, we can finish things up by chatting with her.
So, Knight Errant, how does your new title feel?
We can also flirt with her by saying, "It feels like you really noticed me." Is that right, Leela?
Flouting decorum, are we? You're lucky I'm into that. And yes, I have noticed you.
So what's going to happen to the Brotherhood now?
Now, we can start making the Brotherhood the benevolent organization I always wanted it to be. Our focus has to be helping the people of Appalachia, reaching out a hand and making them feel safe. This is a new dawn. Be proud that you were a part of it.
How are you feeling about everything?
I'm disappointed Shin would turn his back on us, but it's certainly better than the alternative. There were times I truly wondered what I would do if it came to it. If Shin pointed his gun at me, I know what I would do. So I'm grateful he didn't make me do it.
Well, my business at Fort Atlas is done for now. I'm heading out.
Don't be a stranger. There will always be a place for you at Fort Atlas. Ad Victorium.
And like with Shin, if we come back to Fort Atlas with Rahmani in charge, we find that she has a bit more to say.
Thank you for everything you've done, Knight Errant.
Let's talk about the current state of the Brotherhood, we can ask.
While it may seem that we are fractured, I believe that we are now stronger than ever. The Brotherhood can now focus on our mission, free of the influence of the Elders.
Do you miss Knight Shin?
Well, we had our differences. I still had respect for his loyalty, however misplaced it may have been. One of my greatest regrets will be my failure to get him to see things from my perspective.
So what should I do now?
Help the people of Appalachia in any way that you can. Fight back against the raiders and abominations that threaten their lives. And always choose to act with compassion. And don't forget, you'll always be welcome here in Fort Atlas, Knight Errant.
Are you worried about Shin reporting you to the Elders?
I can't concern myself with that possibility while there is so much work to be done here. If the Elders do find out, so be it. Our focus should remain on Appalachia and her people. This is my Brotherhood now.
No matter which side we choose, we complete the quest, the Catalyst. We unlock the option to craft a full suit of Hellcat power armor, and we get an entire frame of the stuff dumped into our inventory. The Hellcat power armor is a completely new suit of power armor that has no reason to exist in this universe at all. It's cool. I mean, yeah, it looks nice. It's got the red visor and the tubes and things and some beefy shoulders, hard edges. I mean, yeah, I like it. But how exactly did the post-apocalyptic Hellcat mercenary group gain the ability to mass-produce their own unique suit of power armor when communist China couldn't even figure that out before the bombs dropped in 2077? I shouldn't be asking these questions, huh? I should just enjoy it. Just roll with it, folks. This Hellcat mercenary power armor, when all pieces are equipped, has 436 DR. That's better than the T-45, the T-60, and the X-01 power armor, only slightly worse than the T-51B. It has 320 energy resistance with all pieces equipped. That's the second worst of all of the suits in the game. It's only better than Excavator power armor when energy resistance is considered. Even Raider power armor has more energy resistance than the Hellcat power armor. And it's got 320 radiation resistance, which is also the second worst. Only the T-51B, which has 305 radiation resistance, is worse than it. Everything else is better. But each piece has a unique effect, negating 2% of ballistic damage per part. And if you equip all pieces to the set, that's a total of 12% ballistic damage that the suit of armor completely negates. Now that our adventure with the Brotherhood is over, we can revisit some of the places in Appalachia that the Brotherhood has touched to see how they have changed. If we sided with Paladin Rahmani and chose to keep the scientists beneath West Tech alive, we find them walking around a lab behind Scribe Valdez. And we can talk with each of them, starting with Dr. Farha.
The Brotherhood seeks to help humanity. In this, our goals are aligned. Our work is progressing well. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to move forward. Scribe Valdez is an excellent supervisor. I have every confidence our work will proceed smoothly. You made the right call on us. Indifference is easy. Compassion, much more difficult.
Then talking to Dr. Jane.
I do miss Dr. Blackburn's sense of vision. Thank you for sparing us. The Brotherhood's mercy will not go to waste. We are going to help humanity. I assure you of it. You must believe that we only wanted to help. That we still do. The lives that were lost. Was it really so many? How did things get so out of hand?
Finally, we can check in with Nellie Wright.
Nothing to see here, except the coolest science you've ever seen. The Brotherhood has too many restrictions. How are we supposed to accomplish anything like this?
New recruits?
Add victory, soldier.
Training, weapons?
I'd tell you what we're working on, but you wouldn't understand it. Don't distract me. Bet you can't recite pi to 1,000 digits.
Nothing else in Fort Atlas changes. There are no new terminal entries on Rahmani or Valdez's terminals, and no new holotapes. There are many other places we have visited that don't have any changes after siding with Rahmani or Shin. The Crater War Room is one, the Retreat is another. But heading to Foundation, we can go to the Supply Room. And if we freed Cassie in Vault 96, we find her hanging out here, and we can chat with her.
Well, look who it is. My hero.
How are you doing, Cassie?
Me? I'm doing just fine, thanks. Sludge lungs cleared up, and I'm not the prisoner of a lunatic doctor, so I call that a win. The folks here have plenty of work to do, and we're getting along fine. I like it here.
Have you spoken to Art Knapp since you got out of the vault?
Uncle Art? Oh, yeah. After your Brotherhood people got me patched up and back to civilization, he came running. You ever see a grizzled farmer happy cry? I sure never thought I'd see Uncle Art do it. Quite the sight. Once he got over the embarrassment, we had a good chat. I drop by his place from time to time and help out.
I just wanted you to know, Blackburn is dead.
Good. It's weird. I almost felt sorry for him, sometimes. It seemed like It seemed like he hated what he was doing. Not that sorry, though. I mean, he did it anyway. And lots of folks died at his hands. So I hope he died badly.
Take care of yourself, Cassie. I've got to go.
You too. Give my regards to Valdez, alright?
Then heading to Big Bend Tunnel West, we can check in with the Blue Ridge Caravan Company. Standing by the fence, we find Ares, and he has some new dialogue here with Steel Rain.
You're making quite the name for yourself. These merchants are good people, but they'd never make it through the tunnel without our help.
What is the Blue Ridge Caravan Company?
It is the tide, bringing in what was lost at sea. Also, we provide protection for traveling merchants.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened to you?
You mean the voice, the mask? It's not so much what, but who. And, I think you've already been acquainted. It's my special reward for standing between a robot and love. Love that, someone may have programmed it to seek out. I do not recall that programming requiring ripping the face off of any human in its path, or gunning down Bish employees for that matter. But isn't Mother Nature amazing?
Then heading inside the Blue Ridge office, we can talk with the new NPCs here whom we really didn't have a chance to get to know when we were here with Rahmani during the quest. We can start by talking with Herschel Klein, the barkeep.
Take your pick from Herschel's curated liquors of choice. Comprised entirely of whatever I happen to find today.
What is the Blue Ridge Caravan Company?
Always with the questions about Blue Ridge. Never, hello, fine barkeep, what's your story? No one's interested in reading the latest draft of My Life at the End of the World, a Herschel Klein story, with a special foreword written by Billingsley of the Bolton Greens. Fine. The Blue Ridge Caravan Company is a caravan company. Hard as it is to believe, giving its incredibly cryptic and nondescriptive name, I know. People pay us money to get things from one place to another place. If you want work, head over to the east side of the tunnel and talk to Vinny.
Heard any rumors lately?
Here's one I heard. We're all just living in a simulation. That's right, none of this is real. Die here, and you'll just wake up in a memory lounger somewhere in Hoboken, New Jersey. To be honest, I'm not sure which reality is worse. Thank you. I'm here all week.
And he has a lot of rumors. We can keep asking him until his dialogue is exhausted. Here are all of his rumors.
Rumor has it that the folks in the crater are actually astronauts that came down with that space station. But their mission is top secret. Or at least that's what one of them told me last time they mugged me. Said he couldn't tell me what the caps were for. Highly classified. Rumors? What do I look like? Some kind of barkeep? I mean, I am, but really, do I look like one? I'm trying to keep my style a little fresh. Here's a crazy one. Brahmin might have 2 heads, but only 1 brain. And it's in their udders. Seriously, Rudy told me. Speaking of Rudy, you ever ask what's in those pepperoni rolls? Human flesh. Heard him slip up and call them people-roni rolls once. I swear. So, the Brotherhood of Steel, right? I heard a rumor it's all fake. Just a traveling theater troupe. They've got a different con in every town. One of my regulars said that he saw that Paladin Rahmani lady doing a trapeze act down in Florida. True story. You know that guard we got, Ares? He's got an encyclopedic knowledge of everything strange. Cryptids, aliens, killer robots. I've been working on a theory. He is an alien. His spaceship was destroyed when the bombs fell, and now he's stuck working for us just to get by. Poor guy. Must miss his home planet, something awful. Yeah. Leave poor old Herschel to slinging schnapps. Go on, then.
Then heading upstairs, we can talk with Joanna Mayfield.
Look who's back. Did you need something else? If you're here for a pay raise, keep walking. But if you're here for a chat, well, I suppose I've got a minute.
What can you tell me about the Blue Ridge Caravan Company?
Well, I suppose I could tell you just about anything you want to know, darling. I am the owner and proprietor after all, but I'll save us both a little time and give you the white paper version. Started out as a trucking company, hauling up and down the roads of Appalachia. The Blue Ridge Parkway in particular, if the name didn't give it away. I inherited the business from my grandpappy. My dear old daddy wasn't exactly around well enough to take over himself. God rest his soul. But, being the entrepreneur I am, I didn't give in. Swapped 18-wheelers for Brahmanbacks and trucked on, so to speak. And now here we are, serving Appalachia with safe and efficient travel and merchandise.
Got any work for me?
Work? Well, now that's speaking my language, darling. I've got caravans running through Big Bend around the clock. Head over to the east side and talk with a fella named Vinny Costa.
Why did you avoid contact with the Brotherhood of Steel?
I've spent 2.5 decades fostering a self-sufficient, well-guarded, and valuable service. All without some jackbooted overlords looking over us. The only thing the Brotherhood can offer is telling us what we can and can't do, and try to take a slice of my pie while they're at it. And thus, I have chosen to politely decline any collaboration between our organizations.
We found the people who went missing in the Harper's Ferry train tunnel.
So I heard. Well, I don't plan to make a habit of it. I'm glad we were able to lend the Brotherhood a hand in this particular instance.
That's all for now.
All right. Back to it then.
And then, pushing Joanna aside, we can read her terminal. Property of the Blue Ridge Caravan Company, personal terminal of Joanna Mayfield. We find 2 entries in the first, staff and clients for Appalachia. Personal notes and reminders, staff and clients. Head of operations, Vincent Vinny Costa. Need to keep an eye on him. Don't want him falling back into things again. Many temptations around here. Another hint that Vinny may, before the war, have been a bit of a mob boss. Caravan guard, Kieran Kennedy. Dependable. Not much of a talker. Old associate of Vinny. Got cute kids. Reminder, set some toys aside for them. Caravan guard, Elizabeth Libby Wen. Tougher than she looks, but more vulnerable than she thinks. Don't let her burn out. Caravan guard Aries. Get more info on this guy. Says he's from around here. Ghoul? Not sure. Client merchant Eugenie. Arms and ammunition. Very valuable client, lots of commission. Reminder, get her to recruit more people from her compound to sell wares. Client merchant Carver Timmerman. Furs, furniture, etc. Poor Deb. Keep an eye on the boy. He's a fragile one. Client merchant Rodolfo Rudy Fernandez. Canned goods, water, etc. Reminder, try not to bring up pepperoni rolls unless you've got an hour to spare. These, of course, are all characters we met when we ran a caravan with the Blue Ridge Caravan Company. Then backing out, we can read Draft Company Speech. As many of you know, I took over this company from my grandpappy nearly 30 years ago. Back then, we hauled cargo with trucks. Our biggest threats were blowing a tire and eating too many cheeseburgers. Times have changed, but so too has the Blue Ridge Caravan Company. With the help of dependable employees like you, we've managed to earn the trust of clients from near and far. We've turned the Blue Ridge Parkway into one of the safest routes for merchants and travelers alike. But today, we begin the next step of our journey. As West Virginia begins to call people to its verdant hills, we must... I'll just wing it from here. The Putnams didn't have anything else to say, and so that's it for Steel Rain and Steel Dawn. So, which ending is canonical? And how does this DLC impact the greater world of Fallout lore as we know it? Well, there's no way to say for sure. The entire allure of the game is that we get to make our own choices. And for that reason, I doubt very much that they'll come out with some other DLC in the future that says, oh yeah, Shin went to the West Coast, and Rahmani is the leader here in Appalachia, or vice versa. I think that because they don't want to invalidate player choice, it's likely that this is the entirety of the story of the Brotherhood in Appalachia. I doubt very much that we'll get any more new content regarding Rahmani or Shin in the future. I'm not saying it's impossible, I just don't think it's very likely. I think future DLCs will focus on other things. But since this game takes place in the past, before any of the other Fallout games we've played, we can try to deduce which of the two options is the most likely. Now, when we meet the Brotherhood of Steel during the events of Fallout 2, we don't learn much. The Brotherhood's presence on the West Coast is greatly diminished compared to where it was during the events of Fallout 1. Likewise, in Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, and Fallout 4, we don't find any reference to any Appalachian chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel. No mention of Brotherhood traitors, besides Lion's chapter, which is briefly alluded to by Veronica in Fallout New Vegas. If it weren't for this DLC, we would have no knowledge of the Brotherhood ever coming on foot to Appalachia. That alone, I think, tells us that Paladin Rahmani stayed in charge of the Brotherhood of Steel here in Appalachia. Now, it could be that Shin stayed in charge, but never managed to reconnect with the West Coast Elders. Or it could be that Rahmani stayed in charge and Shin somehow died along the way, never making it to the West Coast and never having an opportunity to tell the Elders about Rahmani's betrayal. However, I think that Shin is a pretty resourceful guy. If we sided with Rahmani and if he left, he took a bunch of initiates with him. It's not like he left on his own. I think it's highly probable that if Layla Rahmani, Shin, Connors, and Valdez made it here to begin with, which they evidently did, that it's probable that Knight Shin would have made it all the way back to the West Coast. And I think that if we left Shin in charge, it's probable, especially with Valdez helping out, that Shin would have eventually, over time, found another transmitter capable of reconnecting him with the West Coast. Since we don't find any evidence that he ever did, since the West Coast Elders never heard from the Appalachian chapter again, I think the most likely ending is that Paladin Rahmani spared the scientists and the Vault Dweller killed Knight Shin. Otherwise, I think he would have been able to make the trek all the way back to the West Coast. Paladin Rahmani didn't really seem all that interested in adhering to the Brotherhood of Steel's ideals and their tenets. It's totally possible that after years of being the Brotherhood, their organization evolved into something completely different. Perhaps at some time in the future, maybe long after Layla dies, the Appalachian chapter just becomes some sort of local peacekeeping force, disconnected from the Brotherhood, changing their banners, their name, their customs, and becoming just a local regional militia, so to speak. Roger Maxson, who founded the Brotherhood, thought that Appalachia was so important after losing touch with Elizabeth Taggarty that he sent Layla Rahmani and Knight Shin to find out what happened. If he had ever heard from them again, either from Knight Shin finding another communicator or physically walking all the way back there himself, I think he would have done something. He would have sent another force to put Layla back in line. I don't think he would have just neglected them, and we would have heard chatter about these events in subsequent Fallout lore. I think the best way we can explain the Brotherhood's silence about the Appalachian chapter in future games is that Roger Maxson never heard from them again, and after this second attempt, likely gave up. He never found out that the Scorched Plague was cured. As far as he knows, and as far as anyone on the West Coast knows, the plague is still there. It killed Taggarty's chapter, and it likely killed Layla and Shin, and he wasn't about to send any more soldiers to their certain deaths. That's just what I think is the most likely canonical ending, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. I hope you enjoyed this series on the latest DLC for Fallout 76. Never fear, I'll do a series just like this for more of Fallout 76's DLCs, so be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. But there's still a lot of Fallout content, not 76 related, out there that I haven't done yet. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten, and I'll get to it. Maybe sooner rather than later. But now I'd love to hear your thoughts about this DLC. Did you enjoy how the Brotherhood again returned to Appalachia? Did you find Paladin Rahmani and Knight Shin to be compelling characters? And what decisions did you make in your game? Did you think that Paladin Rahmani would have been a better leader of people in Appalachia? Or do you think that Knight Shin was the way to go? That the Brotherhood needs to stay true to the Elders? And what did you think about the other cast of characters that we met? Valdez, the Putnams, the Hellcat mercenaries, Dr. Blackburn as a villain. I thought he was great. And Marcia. Oh, Marcia. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below. I publish new Fallout videos each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss my next episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do, and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members get little badges that appear next to their names in the comment sections of my videos, and they get access to Ox emojis that they can use in my video comments and in the live chats of my live streams. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, thank you for sticking with me through this entire series, and I'll see you soon with more lore videos and more live streams.